We're going to read from our book and explain. This is a witness statement from a sister, African American sister, that was young and used to see us in the Nation of Islam in the 60s. Go right ahead. The first one.
بسم الله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومواله. Ask Allah to bless and forgive our Sheikh and put barak in efforts. He says in his book, Dawah, the Lost Art of the Call of Islam, witness statements. I'm happy to share my memories of the author Khalid Amin and the other amazingly dedicated and effective Muslim and religious propagators as I saw them through the eyes of a child and later as a young adult. Growing up in New York City during the 1960s and 1970s was an eventful time. As a child, I recall seeing television footage of the civil rights movement, the activities of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., and the Vietnam War.
This is a sister that's witnessing what was going on in the 60s and the 70s as a child. She's bearing witness to what she saw through her eyes. Mm-hmm.
My family educated us about what being black in America meant. We knew our people were not treated fairly, and we also knew that some whites could be very angry and brutal towards blacks, commonly called colored or Negroes at that time. I remember seeing my mother's body seemingly broken as she sat on her bed, limply sobbing with unyielding grief when she heard that our hero, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., has been murdered in Tennessee. I also recall riding down south to family reunions and seeing a huge official roadside billboard that read, "Stop Integration and Communism, a message from your local Ku Klux Klan." As a child, I felt unsafe in our world and was very much afraid.
So as a child, she felt unsafe, even though she was in New York City. She felt unsafe as an African-American girl growing up in New York City during that time, based on what she saw and experienced. Mm-hmm.
There were, however, some voices that made me feel reassured. The voices were those of the so-called Black Muslim movement. I played my mother's records of speeches by Malcolm X, and I looked at the books and newspapers promoted by the Nation of Islam. Those messages made me feel more secure. I knew that despite the sad state of our affairs in our country, there were strong black men among us who were courageous, and they were definitely not afraid.
So she was proud to know that there was some black men in America that were not afraid during that time. And that was the Muslims that she had seen who were from the Nation of Islam. We were present everywhere. Mm-hmm.
My uncle had joined the Nation of Islam, which we called the Nation, in 1967. Muhammad Speaks newspapers and their leader's book, A Message to the Black Man, were always around our house somewhere. When we traveled about through the boroughs of New York City, we were often approached by Elijah Muhammad's street messengers who were the newspaper salesmen that brought his teachings directly to our minds.
So back in them days, we brought Islam to you. We wasn't sitting back in our house hiding that we was Muslims. We brought it to you. If you was going to pass us up, you're going to get a paper. You know, whether you want it or not, you're going to get you a paper, and you was going to leave with a nice smile on your face. We was going to say something nice, and we're going to put some money in our pocket, you know? And the brothers did it with finesse. It wasn't no butch. We didn't butch people to sell that paper. You understand? We finessed it. We took it to a whole nother level of selling that paper, you know? So go right ahead. So this is what she witnessed.
Although we tried to avoid them, these men were like the guardian angels of the neighborhood. They selflessly gave their lives and livelihoods to the mission of dawah, or spreading the word of Islam.
You couldn't avoid them brothers on the street corners. If they saw you walking in a certain direction, they'd catch you across the street, put it on you. Hey, brother, what's happening? Bang, slide that paper up under your arm. How you feel, brother? Yes, sir. Just give a donation, brother, and have a nice day. You know, you're looking good today, brother, like them shoes you got on. Brother, have you feeling good? You know, you had your paper, you spent some money, you know. The brothers were sharp, polished when it came to giving dawah. Where are we today? I've been downtown Newark, I ain't see one Muslim on the corner. I've been in Brooklyn, I ain't seen nobody. I've been outside of Taqwa, I ain't seen nobody giving dawah. Where are we? What happened to that love we had for the people? What happened to connection? We had the pulse of the people back then. We don't went to sleep. We got the truth, but we sleeping on it. Mm-hmm.
Spreading the word of Islam to the poor neighborhoods in the United States of America. Later, when I became a Muslim, I came to know that these brave missionaries and expert dawah men as the couriers. All of the adult men within the nation were considered as part of a paramilitary force of the Nation of Islam. This black army was identified as the Fruit of Islam, or the FOI. These men were given a quota of 300 Muhammad Speaks newspapers.
So when you came in the temple, you got 300 papers, whether you could sell them or you couldn't. You understand? And you paid for them every week. You understand? You as a man, you listen, in the nation, you couldn't sit and get welfare. You had to have you a job, making some money, or you had to be in them streets hustling to survive. Because you're going to pay for your papers, you're going to pay the number 2 poor, you're going to get some charity, you know? And you wasn't just going to sit around and do nothing. Captain, lieutenants would ride you like I don't know what. You had dirt on your collar. They say, brother, you're under investigation. Why is your collar dirty? Yeah, they was on you. Discipline. And guess what? We needed it. We was yes, sir, no, sir. You understand? Salute. And we moved on. But we were active. We were moving forward with this, with what we knew to be Islam at that time. Mm-hmm.
And were held accountable for these sales as doing their share of saving our people from what they called the grave. An inspired few of the FOI were so passionate about serving their people with a message they deemed to be life-saving that they went far beyond the minimum 300 paper sales requirement, selling thousands of papers weekly.
That was my
instead.
crew. We sold 1,000 a week. They said we was crazy. Niggas done lost their mind. Selling 1,000 papers a week, selling all day and on the weekends, 3 days with no sleep. You know, they crazy. They lost it. We wasn't crazy. We had a high spirit. Our spirit was high. We loved the people. You understand? We're going to get the message out. We're going to get paid. Yes. Brothers had money in their pocket. You know? So we had the best of both worlds. You know, we never just gave dawah and didn't do business. We did business and gave dawah at the same time. You know, it wasn't like just pass out a flyer, you just give a flyer. No, brother, we sold that paper. We sold new papers, old papers, any paper you didn't want, we sold it. With a smile. It could be a year old, 2 years old, brother. When we finished talking to the people, they loved it. Where's that spirit? We have the truth. Where's that spirit? Mm-hmm.
These men's swift-footed steps and captivatingly lyrical voices hugged the streets corners of the black communities of New York and the country.
So we was all over. Every city, brothers were rolling. They was rolling in Newark. Rolling. Brother Frank and that crew, they was rolling, brother. They was taking care of business. Mm-hmm.
They traveled in cars and vans from state to state, reassuring the black children and adults of our era that we had leadership and we would be okay.
We traveled all over America. We left New York with holes in our shoes, 200 papers, and never turned back. We went to Chicago. From Chicago, we sold all the way to California. California, we came all the way back. Selling papers. Nobody gave us a dime. Nobody said, here, this is money for traveling. No, brother. You know, we went out and got ours. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opened up doors for us. Once they told us in Atlanta, they told us, man, we ain't got no papers in here. You know, we sell all our papers. A brother came to me and said, you see that house over there? That house is full of papers. I said, you got the keys? He said, I'm going to get it. Give me a half an hour. I called 5 taxis. The taxis came. We filled them cars up with papers. Taxis were sitting back like this. And we rolled out downtown Atlanta and put them papers in lockers. And we didn't leave Atlanta until we sold every one of them papers. Okay, when the imam came in town, we went a month in advance and invite the people to come out. Where was the ministers? They was in doubt. Was this right? What was the change? Now we were soldiers. We followed instructions. And instructions led us to understand Islam more.
We knew that their leader, Elijah, had a plan, and we didn't have to be afraid. To black children, they were our Justice League, our superheroes, sailing through the retail sidewalks among the shoppers to greet the people and offer them a glimpse of a new life that could be possible.
So she looked up to the Muslims as a child. But what do the children see now? What are we doing Islamically that the children, even the ones that are non-Muslims, to see, to respect and honor us? We lost that connection. You know, we got the Quran, the light of the Quran. We got belief in our heart. We got the Masjid. But we're not taking that out to the people. It's got to go out of here, the masjids, and into the lives of the people. We got to touch them.
These men were special. They were sharp, clean, respectful, and very intelligent. If you were snagged into a conversation with one of them, you'd likely soon be heading to the temple, later mosque, to attend the next meeting.
Listen, we didn't play. We pull a bus up and put everybody in the bus, take them straight to the temple. Nigga, I'm not going to throw that nigga in the car first. Throw him in the car. All the rest of them get up on the bus. Yeah, brother, what y'all going? We're going to feed y'all. We're going to give y'all some bean pies. We're going to take care of y'all. Don't worry about it. Get up on the bus. They get up on the bus. We take them to the temple. Temple be packed. We done hijacked them. I'm not telling you to do that today, but, you know, we need that kind of spirit. You know, I was in a coffee shop one day here in Newark, this is years ago, and I saw some brothers in there playing chess. I said, damn, look like y'all is Muslims. They say, yeah, we Muslims. Everybody up in this piece is Muslim. I said, I need to bring y'all back to the mosque. They said, when you coming, brother? When you coming? You could take a bus, pull it up there, put them brothers on the bus, you understand, give them some kufis, bring them to the masjid, have some bean pies waiting for them, and they're ready to go. But we're not out there like that anymore. We're not in touch. We don't have the concern for the people anymore. Mm-hmm.
Young lady, a voice warmly snapped into your ears, and then with a smooth gesture folded swiftly with precision and sightless manual dexterity, that Muslim newspaper would be somehow magically creased and under your arm.
That's right. Someone say, young lady. And you look up, boom, that paper be right under your arm. And say, yes, ma'am. And it's just a donation. And she'd be happy to give you something. Roll up on this brother one time on Jamaica Avenue. And he's in this expensive shop for men's clothing. I spun around and dropped the paper on him. And I looked at him. I said, damn, brother, you got some light on your face. I said, yo, take that paper, man. I'm going to have to get back with you later. That brother's imam today. That same brother's an imam today. Just from seeing him, I saw the light on his face. So you never know. But if we're not out there engaging people, you understand? How are we going to bring somebody to Islam? We done left our posts without being properly relieved. Mm-hmm.
They engaged you as they taught you about your history, eating a clean diet, raising strong, healthy children, and having pride in yourself. You somehow knew that they truly loved our people. They were confident in their teachings, and they definitely were not afraid.
So that's the thing. They knew we loved them. Even though they didn't agree with us, we called them sympathizers. They sympathized with us, but they knew we had true concern for them. Do we have true concern for the non-Muslims today? Oh, that kafir, I ain't talking to him. All he do is eat hog, niggas smoking reefer, getting high. Well, somebody didn't come get you, you'd be still doing the same thing today. There's a brother that came and got us and talked to us when we was out there. Somebody had some love and concern for us and brought us to Islam. You didn't just wake up one day through osmosis and become Muslim. Somebody put in that work. So what's wrong with us today? We're not putting in that same work. And we're supposed to have the pure truth now. We're supposed to have more fire, you understand, in what we're doing. But now we done went to sleep. Mm-hmm.
They were simply experts at pulling you into their spiritual space. I eventually joined the Nation of Islam at the tender age of 12 years old, shortly after my two brothers joined, who were 15 and 16 years old at that time.
So her brothers were on my Dawah team in Queens, Amin and Abdullah. They was 15 and 16 when they came into the nation, and she was 12. But this is her observation of what she was seeing and how we motivated her. The brothers in the nation that was out there giving dawah motivated this sister.
The Vietnam
Now,
War.
I'm not saying nobody else was giving dawah. Of course, the brothers from Dar Islam, they were giving dawah too. They were active in inviting people to Islam.
The Vietnam War had recently ended. Drugs were starting to take hold within our communities, and African American youngsters were testing out all sorts of new ways of expression towards social change. Our parents looked on without much resistance when we converted, perhaps just glad we were entering an organization whose edicts invited a sense of old-fashioned clean living. When Elijah Muhammad passed away in 1975, the Nation of Islam was led by his son, Imam Din Muhammad.
So somebody asked me, they said, when you changed over, was it because you no longer believed in the teachings that was taught by Mr. Muhammad? I said, that wasn't my change. My change was that I was a soldier, okay? And whoever would have came in that office, I would have followed him. I'm just being honest with you, because I was trained to follow instructions. So alhamdulillah, Imam Muhammad came in office, gave us shahada, and boom, we took off from there. But it was a blessing that Allah put him in office and he gave us shahada, and we moved from there. Started traveling.
Who began teaching what is considered orthodox Islam as opposed to the rhetoric of black superiority previously taught by the Nation of Islam. The leadership of Imam Muhammad was welcomed by the couriers, and the new teachings ignited a brand new fire of commitment among the ranks of the full-time newspaper salesmen.
So we actually, when Imam came in office, we was fired up. And then a lot of lieutenants and ministers, they was confused, but we wasn't confused because we were soldiers and we was following instructions. So he became our minister and captain.
Transition to authentic Islam as a purely scripturally based social reform strategy provided a much more solid message for these street couriers, as it offered their African American prospects a brand new sense of religious belonging and community. Changes in religious teachings came very quickly after Elijah Muhammad passed. Historians noted that this mass conversion of the NOI membership to Orthodox Islam under the leadership of Imam W.D. Muhammad as being...
How many brothers here was in the first experience and they took Shahada with Imam Muhammad? How many brothers took Shahada? Yeah. So y'all know what we're talking about, man. We came from that experience. We took the Shahada, and then we all moved on in our Islam in different stages and degrees. We moved on from there. You know, it was an experience for us, but we kept moving forward. Some brothers say to me, I went to some place in Chicago, they were having something there, and the brother asked me, who you following? I said, I'm following Allah and his prophet. He said, are you still with Imam Muhammad? I said, if you want to know who I am, go to your history room and see your history. If you know your history, you won't ask me who I am. I ain't got to explain to you who I am. The history will tell you who I am. Okay? If you know your history, you wouldn't ask me that question. But that's how we are. We don't respect one another. We always trying to put each other down. No, we need to respect each other. Mm-hmm.
They didn't seem to question the value of the changed teachings. As if they'd been waiting for these changes, they were fired up. Couriers seemed to be immediately embrace the essential Islamic message of the oneness of God and the equality of man, even ahead of the rest of the congregation. Perhaps by being among everyday people, day in and day out, they'd gained a special sense as to what kind of messages were truly necessary.
So not only were we traveling selling the paper, but we was advancing because we were going to other Muslim communities in the country. So we was learning a lot of things that the brothers in our community wasn't learning. We were learning istinja, du'as to say when you go to the bathroom, when you come. We were learning a lot of sunnahs quick because we was around other Muslims in our traveling. And this is one of the things traveling does. It opens you up to more knowledge of deen. So you don't be just restricted in what you think you know, because there's always something else to learn.
To what kind of messages were truly necessary to uplift the minds of the downtrodden. These street messengers had been spit on, attacked, and even shot at while doing the brave work of propagating Islam.
So there's many brothers that we don't even know that established this deen through sacrifice, standing up for Allah based on the knowledge that they had at the time. They were spit on, disrespected. They went to war and they had to fight to survive. Brothers sacrificed for this deen. Before people even came to this country, there was brothers making effort to sacrifice for this deen. So we should know that. We should respect that effort that was made before we even came. Respect them brothers,
Despite these challenges, they successfully brought in or fished in many people to the Muslim community. Their drive to propagate Islam intensified under the leadership of Imam W. Muhammad. They continued to travel selflessly from state to state to sell Muhammad Speaks newspaper, which transitioned its name to the Bilalian News, then to the AM Journal, and eventually the Muslim Journal. They boldly propagated the Islamic faith, some even quitting their jobs to answer Imam W. Muhammad's call.
Yo, we was
to
on
remake
fire
the
back
world.
then. We was selling 7 days a week, and on the weekends we sell 3 days with no sleep. 3 days with no sleep, drinking black coffee. We sell all night on 40. And there's a lot of war stories that happened when we was giving Dawah. I won't get into them right now, but there's a lot of war stories that happened with the brothers while we was out there. So they had respect for us because they know that the brothers were not playing. The brothers were serious.
Imam W. Muhammad's appreciation of their service was publicly noted as he emphatically proclaimed that his couriers were more valuable to him than his ministers. In gratitude, Imam Muhammad personally named the author, Khalid Amin, and several other couriers with the Islamic names befitting the excellent human characteristics he saw in them.
So we was fired up back then. Imam called us, and Abbas Rasul was the secretary. He came to New York, and he heard about us. He said that he wants to invite us to come to Chicago. So he invited the 1,000 paper sellers from all over the country to come to Chicago to Imam's house and have dinner. Well, we was fired up, and then he gave us all our names. We was on fire, and then in 77, I was coming out the mosque on Stony Island Avenue, and the Imam pulled up and went like this. I didn't know who he was talking to. He said, "You Khalid, right?" I said, "Yes, sir." He said, "Pick up your ticket to go to Mecca. Free transportation to the holy city, Mecca, to see Brother Muhammad." I thought I was fulfilling the lessons, taking off 4 devil's heads and free transportation to the holy city, Mecca, to see Brother Muhammad. Listen, I was on fire. I went downtown. That day, I must have sold 300 papers that one day. I was so fired up. And that's how we got to Mecca. You know, Muhammad Ali and Jabir Muhammad paid for us to go to Mecca in 1977. I ain't had a dime in my pocket. So you can't tell me Allah can't bless you and give you whatever He wants to give you. It's unlimited what Allah can do for you. Yes.
In later years, the duties for propagation fell more to the local imams as official prayer leaders within our various mosques or masjids. Within that role, we've seen varying degrees of effectiveness with continuing the tradition of the dawah and propagation. The role of the da'i or missionary is a very special prophetic tradition that I hope is not lost, and I pray that this book will document and preserve. To date, I have not yet seen the level of skill nor success for sharing and propagating the religion of Al-Islam that I witnessed as a youngster among those couriers who I saw as brave supermen who gave hope and courage to me as a child growing up in New York
So
City.
we need to step up the pace, brothers. We lost our posts. We not out there giving dawah. Let's be for real. We need to get up off our behinds and get up and start inviting the people to Allah. You know, I was in Detroit on 7 Mile one day in the middle of a dope deal. I run up on these Negroes. I said, y'all niggas ready to go to Mecca? They stopped selling dope. They said, what? I said, are y'all ready to go to Mecca? They said, yeah, we ready to go, brother. I said, which one of y'all niggas got a passport? They was like, I said, when y'all get a passport, get back to me. But you see what I mean? Here's a guy in the middle of a dope deal, and he hears the name Mecca. He ready to go. Some of these young people, they don't need a lot of talk. We want to rap and talk. They don't need a lot of talk. You just need to hit them in the right spot and point them in the right direction, and they'll take off. Believe you me, we got some real soldiers out there that's yet to come. And when they come, they're not going to be playing. I'm telling you, they out here. Let's go get them. Let's go get them.
There are only a precious few of these highly skilled practitioners still around today, and fewer still of their prodigies who can replicate the delicate art of sharing knowledge of the Islamic faith in the manner that inspired so many to join the Muslim community's mission of healing our world. In 2016, while in Washington, D.C., I saw a man selling a Muslim Journal newspaper while standing in front of a masjid. In a quick moment of observation and intimate recall, I could tell this man has been trained by a courier who was a dawah master. I called my children around that man to watch him perform the expert sales techniques that I remembered from my childhood. I asked the Muslim brother about his unique skills. He said he had once worked closely alongside the author Khalid Amin.
So
I was not surprised.
This is history. Now let's take from the history and let's get into our Islam that we have today. We're supposed to have progressed to. Go to the first chapter. Yeah.
Excellence in the invitation to heal. This is a social work analysis of 50 years of experience designed to help other human beings heal from physical, mental, and spiritual illnesses.
So Dawah helps people heal from mental, physical, and spiritual sicknesses. Dawah is medicine, okay? We need the medicine as well as the people who we're giving the Dawah to need the medicine too. It's medicine for both of us. It's a healing for us, and it's a healing for the people. Mm-hmm.
I first intended it for Muslims who were inviting humanity to Islam, but I later realized the benefits it might offer all human beings. This book contains valuable lessons from religious stories and my dawah experiences. Here, you will find over 100 dawah points, which will help you deal with people of all nationalities, races, and languages.
So these are points or keys to help you open up doors. See, remember, we're dealing with souls, not just physical bodies. white people, black people, Chinese. No, that's bodies. We're dealing with souls. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created all souls. So we're trying to tap hearts and souls to bring them towards Islam. So actually, we're planting seeds. See, most people think arguing and proving a person wrong, that's giving dawah. No, even a handshake, opening the door for an old person, greeting someone, good morning, good afternoon, how you feeling? Would like a cup of coffee? What's up, man? How you doing? Let me talk to you. All that's dawah. Manners, good manners. And now the older brothers here know that grandma and all of them, they that's what they was on, letting you know you better have some good manners, boy. You couldn't pass an old person without saying good morning, good afternoon, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. Italian lady heard me curse one day. She said, boy, come here. She took me in her house and took a bar of soap and washed my mouth out. She said, that's what we do to people with nasty mouths. I never forgot that. So that's something we had when we were young, was manners. Even if you was a dope fiend, you had manners because you was taught that. But we lost that nowadays. We need to get that back.
These points are keys to opening up both physical and spiritual locked doors.
There's doors that are locked physically and spiritually. And that's why people can't come to Islam, because they have spiritual locked doors. So these doors have to be open. And Allah has to open these doors. But Allah gives us keys to work on opening these doors to help people make the transition.
The path to knowledge of our Creator and understanding others contains these qualities. Tolerance.
So if you're giving dawah, you have to have tolerance. The guy smoking reefer, drinking wine, smoking crack, doing all kind of crazy stuff. You have to have tolerance with that person. And many of us, we were doing all this crazy stuff before Islam, but somebody tolerated us. Somebody spent time with us, and helped to develop us. This didn't happen overnight.
Concern.
People know if you're concerned about them. They can feel it. They tell you quick, man, I ain't feeling it. I hear what you're saying, but I ain't feeling it. Because you're not coming from here. You're coming from your mouth and your head. But they ain't feeling it from here. And they'll tell you quick, them brothers in the street, nah, I ain't feeling what you're saying, brother. Go on about your business. Or they'll say, yeah, I hear you, brother. I know. I'm just out here, you know what I'm saying? I feel you, man. I feel what you're saying. So the concern, we got to have true concern for people.
Love. True compassion.
People are looking for that. Listen, I was outside of a masjid in Atlanta, Georgia. And this big, tall African-American brother was coming down the street, moving fast. I said, yo, brother, let me talk to you. He said, yeah, what's up? I said, come on upstairs to the masjid, and hear the imam. I ain't got time for that. I said, well, brother, it only take a couple of minutes. Man, didn't I tell you I ain't got time for that? I said, I'll tell you what I want you to do. He said, what? I said, give me a hug. He looked at me. He gave me a hug. He said, damn, that's the best thing that happened to me in 10 years. I just got out the joint with no love up in there. You see what I mean? People are looking for a connection. And we are supposed to be that connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We're supposed to be that connection. But we sleeping. We got to get back out there, man, with the people.
Short stories. Kindness. Attention. Focus.
Now, kindness goes two ways. Okay? Kindness don't mean you're a punk and somebody can do what they want to you. Because we was in Queens selling one day, and a brother had taken our gloves and put the gloves on. I'm coming out the bathroom. This Negro was putting on my gloves. I said, yo, man, you can give me my gloves. What? Nigga, yeah, nah. I looked in the restaurant. I said, now let me see what knife I'm gonna get and cut this nigga up with. And then I said, nah, if you get that knife, you're going to jail. So I go down the street, get my bag, and put one of them red bricks in the bag. You know, one of them red bricks? I come back up the street. He said, this your class, nigga? I said, yeah. Bang! I hit him in the head. He went down and sajda. By that time, I done forgot all my Islam. I'm cursing, and yeah, you get angry and go crazy. I'm cursing, and he crawling into the store trying to get away from me. About an hour later, he come down and say, brother, why you sneak me with that brick? I said, brother, I was trying to kill you. If you don't get out my face, I'm going to finish it right now. Month later, the brother came down and said, Assalamu alaikum, brother, I'm Muslim. Okay, that's a different type of dawah there. You understand? He got the message. Yeah. So we kind, yes, we kind and respectful, but at the same time, you might have to go somewhere else from time to time. You know? We was crazy back then. Brothers, remember them slum watches? Remember the slum watches they sell? They sold a brother a slum watch, right? And we heard that they beat the brother. So we on Fordham Road with machetes. Gonna cut his hand off when we catch him. Because if you steal from a Muslim, we supposed to cut off your hand. We was crazy back then. If you steal from a Muslim, we're gonna cut off your hand. So we up on Fordham Road with trench coats on, with machetes, looking for this brother to cut off his hand. Alhamdulillah, we didn't find him. So all I'm saying is different stages in giving dawah. You got to use discretion when you're doing it.
Attention, focus.
Now, children need attention, okay? If you don't give your wife attention, you got a big problem, okay? So people need attention, and we are not giving them attention anymore. So this is why they're crazy. Reefers everywhere. People's going crazy. They sticking. I went downtown today, trying to do a little dawah. I seen all the dope fiends. I seen all the man all the people that's robbing people. I seen all of them. As soon as you see them, you already know who they are. But because we're not giving dawah, this stuff is not subsiding. It's getting worse. And the less we get out there, the more this stuff is going to continue to go. And if it don't get us, it's going to get your children. If it don't get your children, it's going to get your grandchildren. Believe you me, Shaitan is busy.
Advice, awareness, faithfulness.
A guy came to me one time downtown and Ann Arbor said, you know what? I'm about to go to a school and shoot up a whole lot of children. I said, yo, man, we got to have some coffee, man. So we went and had some coffee. I said, yo, what's going on with you, man? This is a white guy. He said, I was doing something for the feds and this and that, and they crossed me, and I'm about to go to a school and shoot up some people. I said, yo, man, why don't you talk to your congressman, write him and something like that, blah, 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 like that. So then he started doing that. The next thing I know, he came down, he had a suit on, he was looking for a job, but he changed his mind. You see? So now if we're not out there talking to people and catching them in these crises, that's why they're going into school shooting up people. Because we not available for them to talk to us. Yo, man, let me talk to you, man. Don't do something stupid like that, brother. Come on, let me take you and get a dinner. They just need some concern, man. But now we don't have any of that.
Wisdom, change within and without. Loyalty, learning to harmonize with others. Care. To become an excellent inviter to Islam, we must first start increasing our iman, faith.
So this is the first thing. We want to invite people to Islam. We have to increase our own iman. If you don't have iman, how are you going to invite somebody else to it? Okay? You increase by doing righteous deeds, good things. Your iman decreases by doing unrighteous deeds. It's simple.
which comes in time. Conviction first begins in the heart, then Islam is made manifest through our body's actions.
So that's how we came into Islam. Something affected our hearts. Those that weren't Muslims, something touched us. It affected our hearts. And later on, from our hearts, it went to our body parts. That's how Iman starts. I remember this brother, they used to call him Boppin' Eddie from New Jersey. He came in the hood and, he was talking about Islam at the time. He's talking about the humble Elijah Muhammad and talking about Allah. And I didn't know what he was talking about. I thought he was crazy. But, he was kicking it. He'd kick it in the street, in the park. He was talking it, this and that. So he was giving us dawah back then. We didn't know what he was talking about, but he was giving us dawah. But are we reaching out to people and giving them dawah like we should? For example, if you're a basketball player, start a team and teach the brothers how I started Islam. A brother named William 76X started a basketball team, and I was with the team. His brother Butch was my man, and then he was using that to bring us to Islam back in them days. So we should use these things to bring people to the deen.
Then Islam is made manifest through our body's actions, like when we pray, fast, etc. The principles of faith are 6: belief in the oneness of Allah, belief in His angels, belief in His books, belief in His messengers, belief in the Day of Judgment, belief in predestination.
Everyone knows these 6 principles of Islam, but Islam has 76 branches of faith. Okay? Ready?
However, there are over 76 branches. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ said in a sound hadith, "We used to be with the Prophet ﷺ when we were youths. We learned iman, faith, before we learned the Quran. Then we learned the Quran and we were increased in iman."
So the Sahabas, as young people, learn faith, iman first, and then they learn Quran. And then when they learn Quran, their iman was increased. So iman is something that we learn. It's belief and action that goes together. You can't separate the belief and the action. They go together.
Today, as Muslims, we are teaching the Quran before we teach iman. This hadith also shows us that iman has to be taught and learned. Beliefs and actions are inseparable.
Belief and actions cannot be separated. They go together.
Iman belief contains the foundation for our success in this life as well as the next. However, faith is such a broad topic that it requires training. There is a hadith that talks about the branches of Iman in Sunan Nasa'i. Abu Hurairah reported that the Messenger of Allah ﷺ that he said, "Iman has 70-something branches of faith, and shyness is a branch of faith." The actual Arabic word used is bid'un, means 3 to 9. So when the Prophet ﷺ said 20-something, it meant a number between 73 and 79 branches of faith.
So Iman has 73 to 76 or 79 branches of faith. So Iman is deep. And there's a book by Al-Bayhaqi, 18 volumes, speaking about Iman only. So this knowledge is deep. This is why we need the Arabic language to get deep into the knowledge. You can't get deep into the knowledge without the language. The language is a tool. Very important. And there was a man who started studying at 70 years old from Mauritania. He became a scholar at 100, and he taught until he was 120 years old. So don't say you're too old to learn. Nobody is too old to learn. Everybody can learn. It's just the niyat. You have to have the intentions.
This word, branches, can also be explained as qualities. This hadith is referring to actions that are in accordance with Islamic traditions, and they are called iman.
Iman, qualities, actions in accordance with Islamic traditions.
Iman increases with the performance of righteous deeds or diminishes in our disobedience.
They say Imam Shafi said, "La yajtami' an-nur wal ma'asi." Light, Allah's light and disobedience will never mix. So if you want light from Allah, leave disobedience. Doesn't mix. And when the light comes, what happens to the darkness? Goes away. Yes. When the darkness comes, what happens to the light? It goes away. Don't exist together.
From the Quran, we know that Allah has told us to do things that He and His Prophet ﷺ have ordered and leave the actions He and His Prophet ﷺ have prohibited. So what we have been instructed to do by Allah and His Prophet ﷺ, we do. And what we have been prohibited from, we avoid.
Simple. Whatever we've been told to do by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, do it. Whatever we have prohibited to do, stay away from it. I had a cousin that's been Muslim since maybe 72. He calls me up one day, tells me he's listening to some tape of some white people, and he believes that there's no God. And he wants me to listen to this tape. I said, brother, you done lost your mind. You done lost your mind. You don't believe there's a God, and then you want these people to talk to me about this? Man, I stopped talking to him. Don't believe that. I mean, even everybody believes there's a creator, at least almost everybody, except if you crazy or Majnun. All the signs are there, you know.
This is the essence of Iman. All the branches of faith consist of either the actions of the heart, tongue, or body.
So actions of the heart, actions of the tongue, and actions of the body is dealing with faith. Actions of the heart, actions of the tongue, and actions of the body. Mm-hmm.
Faith and all its branches speak to our connection with the Creator.
So this is our connection with Allah. Our faith is our connection with Allah. And this is what we have to work on to boost up our connection with Allah. There's nothing greater than being connected with your Lord. Yes. Because from Him we come, and to Him we will return. Nothing should be more important in our life than Allah. Allah should be the most important thing in our life. Mm-hmm.
Actions of the heart include such things as the articles of faith and sincerity.
Sincerity is one of the iman actions of the heart. And no sheikh can give that to you. You can't get it from a book. It has to come from Allah. Allah puts it in the hearts of His believers. Allah puts sincerity in the hearts of His believers. Tawakkul, trusting in Allah, that's dealing with the heart. You have to trust in Allah in good times and in bad times. Patience, sabr, okay? Patience with things we like and patience with things we don't like. This is all dealing with iman, dealing with the heart. Believing that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has a dhatihi, essence. And you can't perceive the essence of Allah. You can only understand Allah through His attributes and qualities. They say, ترك الإدراك إدراك وبحثا ذات الله سبحانه وتعالى إشراق. Leaving, trying to ascertain the essence of Allah is ascertaining Him, and trying to search for the essence of Allah is shirk. The human being cannot perceive the essence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's too great. You know, one time when we first came into the Sunnah, I called myself, and this is something I said I was going to do. I was going to say each name of Allah 100 times. Okay? 99, I'm going to say each one 100 times. I got the Ar-Rahman. I did that, you know. And then when I got to Rahim, things started getting a distance from me. I started like feeling real strange. I said to myself, you know what? You are a fool. You dealing with electricity that's way beyond your capacity. And it's about to blow out your lights. Yes. If you plug a 110 into a 220, what's going to happen? It's going to blow. That's why you need a teacher. You need to teach and learn in stages and degrees as we grow and develop. So we have a natural spiritual growth. You know, one brother, he want to sit and read Quran all day in the masjid. I said, brother, you got to find a job or do something. No, brother, I'm in Quran. I'm in Quran. You know what happened? He started hearing voices. Okay? The jinn started talking to him. And he said, brother, I'm hearing these voices and all. I said, brother, you better get you a job. No. So sometimes, we think we want to get deep, but we're not ready to get as deep as we think we really want to get. Because the unseen world is greater than what you see. Okay? So be careful of what you ask for. Because you might ask for something you can't handle.
Actions of the tongue include reading the Quran.
So this is iman, actions of the tongue. It's reading Quran, making dhikr, subhanallah, alhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallah, astaghfirullah, and in order for the dhikr to reach the heart, you keep doing it with your tongue. It may not be there immediately, but if you keep doing it in time, it's going to get to your heart. And that's where the source of the remembrance is in the heart. But it takes time to get it to the heart. Yes.
And avoiding vain and idle talk.
Okay. So avoiding vain, Bubba on the phone for hours just talking about Eddie, James, Sue, whatever they did. Just nothing. Just talking. You see him on the corner drinking wine, just talking about nothing. Vain talk. There's no barakah in it. No, we should be busy remembering Allah in open and in secret, even if nobody sees you. You're sitting there, somebody's talking crazy, you just say, stuck with it. Just remember Allah. Read a verse from Quran. A guy came up to our table in the Bronx the other day. What do you say about Jesus? I said, well, we believe in Jesus. Yeah, but how do you believe in him? That's how he's talking to me. I said, we believe Jesus was a prophet. No, but I want to know you, right? And then he started like you about to foam from the mouth. I said, A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim, alif lam mim, ذلك الكتاب لا ريب فيه هدى للمتقين. I started reading Surah Al-Baqarah. He started going like that. Ha, ha, ah, ah. Then he hit the table like this. Then he's like, again, ha, ha. And I had my stick over there, okay? I was waiting for him to really do something so I can, pop him with that stick right in his head, But he's ha, ha. And then he's shaking, huh? As I'm reciting now, he's shaking. Then, in the end, he takes two pamphlets. He's hitting the Quran like this. He takes two pamphlets and walks away. Now, was that really that man that was there? Huh? That was the devil. Okay? So how often does the devil come to us and we don't really know who he is? You understand? We think it's that person, but it's the shaitan coming through that person. This is why the remembrance of Allah is important. Because he can come through you as a husband, he can come through your wife, he can come through your children, He can come through your grandchildren. And if you're not spiritually connected to Allah, you won't even know who it is. Here you arguing with them, thinking you arguing with that person, but you're talking to the devil. So this is why the remembrance of Allah is important. Remembrance of Allah is the greatest thing, to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mhm.
Actions of the body include making our formal prayers and being modest in our
So we
clothing
talked about
choices.
iman of the hearts. We talked about iman, belief and actions of the tongue. And we're talking now about belief and actions of the body. You know, we make, even for istinja, and istinja is a protection. You think about it. When you make istinja and you make wudu, you're washing all the holes in your body. This is to protect you from the unseen, the shaitan. Shaitan enters through the holes in your body. And they say he runs in the blood of the children of Adam. Because when Allah created Adam, Shaitan went through his head, the hole in his head, and came out his anus. Okay? So wudu is a protection. It protects us from many unseen things. Wudu and istinja. It's very deep, but it's a protection. So make sure you make your wudu, you make your istinja, and make sure you don't have any stains in your clothing before you make salat. Because you know what? You can have on a three-piece suit and looking good, like $1 million, and your salat is not accepted because you have feces or urine stains in your underclothes. And here's a brother that's a mechanic. You know how a mechanic looks filthy dirty, but he's in wudu, his underclothes are clean, his salat is accepted, and yours won't be accepted. So make sure that we take care of ourselves when we go to the bathroom. You know, when I first started coming to the Sunnah, I was at this Masjid on Atlantic Avenue. And I go to the bathroom, and I come out the bathroom, and the brother said to me, "What'd you do in the bathroom?" And I'm like, "What's this nigga, funny? Asking me what I did in the bathroom." I didn't know, you know. He said, "Well, what did you do?" I said, "I took a, you know." He said, "But what did you do after that?" Now, I got offended the way he was approaching me, but he was trying to teach me about istinja, you know, to clean myself with water. I didn't know that. Okay, we in Mina on Hajj in 77. And we in the Mina building in on Hajj, and one of the brothers that's imam come out the bathroom butt naked, no clothes on, butt naked. One brother over there said, "Brother, you need to dress." He said, "Were you funny or something?" So you see, brothers grew up taking showers in school, you know, no clothes on. I mean, this is a normal thing. But no, brother, not Islamically. We always cover our private parts. We always make wudu and istinja. Istinja is very important. It's the sunnah of all of the prophets. Istinja. Madmadu wal istinshaq. Madmadu, washing your mouth out. Istinshaq, because there's shaitan that rests in your nose when you sleep. So when you do it, you're getting rid of them. So there's things going on in the spiritual world that help to purify us and bring us close to Allah. So don't take these things for granted.
God willing, we will write another book that examines these branches in detail soon. This topic is of vital
They say
importance.
even there's a hadith in Nisa'i, when you take a miswak like this, and you do your teeth like this with a miswak, there's an angel that loves this miswak so much. He comes and put his mouth on your mouth. And when you read Quran, You read Quran inside that angel. That's how much the angel loves that miswak. And increases your barakah of salat. The Prophet ﷺ said, if I had not feared that it would be difficult for you, I would have ordered you to use the miswak at every salat. The miswak is powerful. So we should use it, you know. So, well, we got toothbrushes, brother. We don't need no miswak. Nobody said you can't use your toothbrush, okay? But the sunnah is the miswak, okay? So try the sunnah and see the blessings and barakahs in it, okay?
Dawah, the lost art. It has been my observation that da'is today are passionate for the religion. They may have received formal Islamic education, others informally. However, they have not been sufficiently exposed to masters of the craft.
So we see people now that are giving dawah. You see them on the internet. They're arguing with people about Jesus. You know, somebody even got stabbed. He's out there giving dawah, you know. Alhamdulillah, they're making effort, but they're not trained in the field. You know, a trained person that gives dawah, he can like operate on a person within seconds and affect them. Seconds. Changing negativity into positivity. Somebody comes to him negative and he says, oh, I heard what you said, brother, but I like them shoes you have on. They look nice. Where'd you get them from? Change his whole outlook. So when giving dawah, you're planting seeds in a person. This trying to convert somebody overnight, that's crazy. Person needs time, okay? So plant the seed in them, and in time he will come. There's a brother, I was at my son's masjid the other day, and my son said, I want you to meet somebody. I said, okay, who is it? One of his students, Quran students. He said, you know this brother? I said, no. He said, Colombian Omar is his father. So Colombian Omar used to come downtown where I was giving dawah in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and he's from New York. So every time he come down, I would say, my man from Columbia, New York City, what's up, man? Shake his hand, we talk for a minute. I give him a flyer, but he never read the flyers. He always put the flyer in his drawer. Come down, my man, yo, what's happening? Hey, my man from New York City, Colombian Omar, what's happening? I mean, Colombian, whatever his name was back then. Yeah, what's up? What's going on? Just connecting with him. After about a year and a half, some brothers from the Tabligh met him. And he took his shahada with him and came and told me, I'm Muslim now. Okay, so all I did was plant the seed. Okay, somebody else came along and watered it. So what happened was he came to Medina. He stayed with me, him and his wife. And I hadn't seen him since then. That's been about 20 years ago. Now he's got 18 children, and all of them children are Muslims, you know? And I was so happy to see him. At least the majority of them are Muslims. He got some that, you know how that is in this dunya. But I was so happy to see him. So what I'm saying is you never know. You connect with people and work with them, but you never know that Allah will bring them all the way. So the point is, we need to learn how to be skilled in the dawah, not just arguing with people, you know, beating our head against the wall, fighting with people. No. We had a crew who used to beat people up all the time. That was another crew. That wasn't my crew. That was another crew. They was fighting downtown all the time, beating somebody up. And one of them brothers went back to New York and started selling drugs. They found him in the bag, chopped up in pieces. So if you're giving dawah, you better be careful because this is Allah's work. If you disrespect Allah's work, he will chastise you. So this is not a joke. So we need to be skilled and learn how to give dawah. And you know what? Some of the older brothers, they might not have known a lot about the religion, but they know how to deal with people. You see? And we need to go back to that. We need to get with some of them old brothers and get them skills that they had.
We know from Islam the importance of the teacher in bringing the book, theoretical knowledge, to life. With fewer and fewer people who have been trained to give dawah, fewer and fewer people have access to knowledge, to the knowledge.
So they say when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I was talking to a brother about martial arts one day, and he was my neighbor. He told me, looked at me, said, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear. I'm like, what is this old man talking about? Little did I know that he was the martial art teacher. He was my neighbor, you know? So sometimes you don't know what Allah has placed in people. You know, you never know what gift Allah has given them. So we should be in the position as Muslims to want to learn the art of how to deal with people. Yes, it's very important. Some of the brothers were masters at that. This one brother that I learned with in the old days named Brother Patrick. He was a master at dealing with people, ambassador. They loved him. He had candy. We give candy to the babies. You know, he said, "Oh, watch your step. Yes, come this way. Yeah. Yes, ma'am." And they loved him. So we need to develop that skill again. You know, inviting people to Islam. How much time we have? Okay.
Why is it so important to be an inviter to the Lord of all the worlds? This section is dedicated to sharing what I have learned over the years about spiritual healing for both myself and others. Here, I want to introduce you to why giving dawah is so important for every Muslim to help you see the benefit of studying and how it's done and why. Inviting people to Allah is the work of all the messengers from Adam to Muhammad.
So this is the job of all of the messengers from Adam to Muhammad to invite people to Allah. Does it get more important than that? Okay, this is more important than your 9 to 5 or my 9 to 5, inviting people to Allah. It's a job, but it's the work of the messengers of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Could Allah give us a better job? A guy came to me one day on Jamaica Avenue. He said, you know, mister, he said, I've been watching you for years, and you're a hell of a salesman. He said, I'll make you a millionaire overnight. He said, I make my own beauty products. He said, if you come with me, you'll be a millionaire overnight, brother. I said, well, you know what? Let me get back with you tomorrow. I'll tell you tomorrow. So the next day he came and said, what do you think, man? I said, you know what? I have a boss that takes so good care of me. I don't think I could leave my boss. He said, man, who is your boss? I said, Allah, the Lord of all the worlds, brother. He said, damn, I wish I had you on my team, brother. Yes.
This includes such prominent messengers as Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, and Jesus. Our job is to reconnect people with their Lord.
So that's our job as Muslims, to reconnect people with Allah. That's our job. Connect them to Allah, and Allah will take it from there. Mm-hmm.
Sometimes the world gets us so distracted that we lose sight of what is essential, even our health. This is a significant loss since our connection with our Lord is the most precious thing we have.
So the most important thing we have is our connection with Allah. Whether you're sick, well, your connection with Allah is the most important thing. And we're trying to connect other human beings with their Lord, Allah. People don't even know who Allah is. Yes. We sitting around with all this knowledge and not inviting people to Islam.
As an inviter, da'i, the work of healing is for both the patient and the healer. It helps us control our tempers and desires and develops humility and a spirit of service to humanity.
So if you think you bad, go out and get some dawah, because you're gonna meet someone better than you. Yes. Listen, we on 47th Street in Broadway one day. I'm with this brother. I ain't gonna say his name, but the brother went to offer paper to this brother. He was dressed clean, had his girlfriend with him. He said, "Nah, I don't want that." And the brother gonna force the paper on him. He said, "Man, I don't want it." He gonna force the paper on him. The brother pulled out a 357 Magnum, like this. Shh, pulled it out, and the brother ran behind the mailbox. He went behind the mailbox. He said, "I should blow your fucking brains out for being so stupid." Put it back, and just walked away. So if you think you bad, go out and get some dawah, brother. You'll find some people that's badder than you think you are. So it calms you down. It mellows you out. When you're out there with people and you're giving dawah and talk to them about Allah, it keeps you mellow, keeps you balanced, keeps you tuned. So it's more than just you talking to people. Allah is working on your heart and soul at the same time. Yes, it works for both.
Another benefit is that you will appreciate how complicated personal problems can be. You may find others' problems affect.
You know, I went to this place one time and they had a sign. This guy was bent over like this with had a picture of a gorilla on his back and said, "Would somebody please get this monkey off my back?" People are hurting out there. People are really hurting. They need help. And then we're the ones that Allah sent to help them. There's no messengers or prophets coming. We are the ummah of the Prophet, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So we got to bring that message to the people.
You may find others' problems affect their physical health until they are tied up in knots. Seeing their problems will help you understand how your issues are not as severe as you thought they
So
were.
if you think you're having problems, go out and give dawah and see the condition of other people. You say, "Man, I'm doing pretty good." Yeah.
This work will also relieve spiritual burdens you may have been carrying around for years.
You know, we have spiritual burdens. Sometimes we have jinns in our families for years. We don't even know that they're in our families and they affect us. So doing this work of dawah will help to relieve some of them burdens that we have on us. Yes. You know, I had a grandmother, my father's mother. I didn't realize until after she died, she was dealing with the jinns. So I used to see these black shadows in her room. And I used to tell my parents that I had these black shadows and people talking in the room. They say, "Boy, you crazy. Shut up and go to sleep." Okay? But I didn't realize she was dealing with the jinns. So sometimes we have spiritual things in our family that we're not even conscious of. But if you do this work of giving dawah, it will help alleviate these spiritual burdens that we have.
A person can find themselves more tolerant and with more love and genuine concern for people, regardless of their backgrounds.
I think we need to stop and ask questions. So we're gonna have a little time where we can stop, ask questions, or discuss some things. Somebody has sent some questions. So let's see what the questions are. If anyone else has any questions or concerns.
So, a brother here asked, what was your first journey from the NOI in Harlem to studying the religion in Medina? And how were you raised, and what attracted you to join the NOI, and what forced you to change?
I say it again. What was the what?
And what forced you to change?
No, beginning.
What was your first journey from the Nation of Islam in Harlem to studying?
First of all, my journey wasn't from Harlem. My journey was from Brooklyn and Queens. That's the mosque I was in. So I was in Brooklyn, and then I was in Queens, and then we traveled all over the states, and then we went to Hajj in 77, and then I went back to study in Mecca in 1979. So that was my journey for, learning more about Islam. Was the rest of that question?
So, how were you raised, and what attracted you to join the NOI, and what forced you to change?
Well, what attracted me, I think when I heard that the white man was the devil, I said, well, that must be right. All the evil that they doing, they got to be the devil, you know. And then, I heard the name Allah and Muhammad. That all that was new to me. So, I was attracted to it. I was attracted to the brotherhood. I was attracted to where they was moving. And I first came in '65 when they had burnt down the temple on 116th Street after Malcolm got killed. So at that time, it was going up on Prospect Avenue over the Jehovah Witness place. But I didn't come to Islam till '69 because I couldn't leave them streets alone. So Allah had to chastise me in '69. That's when I really accepted Islam in the nation at that time.
How did this affect your Islamic practice and beliefs, including your desire to study with the Ethiopian scholar Khalid?
Well, first of all, I was encouraged to study from listening to Imam Muhammad. That was my first encouragement to study. And I didn't meet the sheikh that I studied with. One of them I studied with Ethiopian sheikh till I was in Mecca. So, I mean, it was not like something I planned. It was something that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just blessed me to go to Mecca, to be there and be in that environment and be able to hook up with the sheikh and study with him. So it's not something that I planned, but it was a blessing from Allah that it happened. And he wasn't the only, it was many other sheikhs that I studied with also at that time.
What would you have done differently if you had to do it again? And would it be much? Would you do it much earlier, or would you make different decisions?
I think that if I had the opportunity, I would have went and studied at a younger age, because the age I went and studied at 27, it was very difficult. Remember that time there was no computers, no cell phones, and everything was in Arabic. So it was kind of tough being 27 years old and trying to study. So, that's why I made effort with my children at a young age to take them out of the country, like 5, 6, and 7 years old, to study Quran, because I know the hard times I had as an older person trying to do it. So I think I would have trying to do it at an early age, study, learn more about the deen.
How did martial arts play a role in your journey and life here and abroad?
Well, I think in the FOI, we always had martial arts. Am I right, Mustafa? Sheikh Mustafa? We always had martial arts in the FOI. Mandatory. It's a must that we all train. I don't know why we ain't training no more. You understand? I mean, listen, the dunya is still a dunya, and we still have some knuckleheads out here. Okay? So we need to be trained. You got somebody right here with you, brother. Y'all need to get with them and train. One brother say, I might be old and can't do nothing, but I got something that works all the time. But we need to be training. Myself, I couldn't get with Professor Musa back in the days. Reason I couldn't see myself with him because the professor was like a butch boy, very aggressive, and I didn't get along with butch boys, so I couldn't see myself training with him. But we trained in the FOI. They taught us in the FOI. And then I didn't really start getting deep into the arts until I really got back from Mecca in '84. And at that time I went to Miami. I was training with Professor Moses Powell and one of his top students, Nelaine Muhammad. I was with them. And then I met a brother in Detroit. I started training with him. His name was Khalid. He was teaching Aikido, so I started training with him. But then I found out when I went to Morocco to study Quran, I was training with Sheikh Luqman. He was from New York. But I found out that a lot of stuff that Khalid was teaching me was mixed. It wasn't straight up Aikido, you know. So I think Sheikh Lukman was the one that really affected me the most in Aikido, you know. So I kept training in Aikido, and then I met this Filipino brother. So we was training with him, and it's just to me, it's just a way of life, you know. Training in the arts is something that you do, like brushing your teeth. You know, you could be old and young, you could still train. You know, some of the brothers that were heavy into the heavy stuff, they went into the Tai Chi, but they still got their knowledge that they use. Some of the brothers, went into different aspects of the arts. So there's always something to learn, but we need to be training, brothers. I'm telling you. If you're old, you need to train. Young, you need to train. Train according. You can train sitting in a chair. You can't move. But we need to, in the 60s, we were the top in the martial arts. Am I right, Mustafa? We was the top in every art you want to think about. We was the top in it in the 60s. And they had big respect for us. But I don't know, we dropped the ball, man. We went to sleep.
Can you can you talk about your perspective on Dawah and what made you write a book about it?
My perspective of Dawah is that people we've lost, we left our post in giving Dawah. And the reason I wrote the book is to try to revive the spirit of giving Dawah. There's many brothers around, you may not know who they are, but they know how to do it. They did it before and saying they could do it again. But we need them, the older brothers, to teach the young brothers. My brother Bilal, Ishaq, and the brothers were rolling back in the days. We need to give this knowledge to the young people, you know. So we trying to revive the spirit of the Dawah and try to get it back up again. Of course, man, I mean, we're kind of dead in terms of movement and inviting people to Islam. I was in California, man. They live out there. The brothers in the university, they doing it, giving Dawah to organizations. They rolling. I got back to Michigan. It was like, you know, I'm telling the brother, you got to do this and do that. And the brother's telling me what to do. I said, how long you been doing this? He said, a year. I said, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about, man. 1 year you've been doing this? Be quiet, you know? He's all on his phone and, you know, they don't know what to do. They don't know how to talk to people. They running behind people with the Qur'ans, making the Qur'an look like it's cheap. I told somebody to give them a Qur'an and say, listen, wash your face in the hands and put it in a high place. Who told you that, brother? That's not the Qur'an. It's not Arabic. Well, I know it's not Arabic. And I know it's not the original Qur'an. But if you don't respect your book, you expect a non-Muslim to respect it? We was told years ago when we first got the Quran, wash your hands, wash your face, and put it in a high place. Don't take it in the bathroom. Now we done got so religious, it's not the real Quran. So hey, do what you want with it. So just take that book and throw it in the trash can then, right? Come on, man. We don't have that respect for the Quran, even though it's in English. That's it for the questions.
What would you advise the young Muslim to think about and to prepare themselves to be successful in today's world?
I think the young Muslims need to be taken to Mecca and Medina so they can see Islam from a bigger perspective. I think we need to take our young people, let them see Islam, let them see the Muslims from all over the world making tawaf around that Kaaba. All races, all nationalities worshiping Allah. Let them see that. Let them see the people in Medina praying together, all the Muslims all over. That will affect them, have a deep effect on them. And also, right now we have Pakistani Americans, Arab Americans, Bangladeshi Americans, Egyptian Americans. But how many African Americans do we have that's really studying Islam? Where are our children at? It's not our focus. But we need to have our children learning the deen. How are we going to preserve this deen if they're not learning it? So, yes, we need doctors, we need lawyers, we need engineers, we need all of these things. But we need our children and grandchildren to learn this deen. It's very important. Anyone have any questions or concerns? Yes, sir. Some. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Exactly. Yes, sir. There you go. There you go. Uh-huh. Okay. Right. Right.
Muhammad's fish man is back to show you where it's at. Huh? He said, this is the fish that Muhammad Ali. That's how he knocked Fraser off his feet. Yeah,
Right, right.
He said, I want you to know that this white entity, you can shake it and bake it. You can heat it and eat it. You can boil it and boil it. You can buy it and fry it. And then after the last sentence he said, and I want you to know when you eat this fish, little brother, you will get A's and B's in school. No more C's and D's, and you will be like Muhammad Ali. Oh, man. He dropped the whole case on that woman.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes. We just satisfied and doing what we doing. We need to be shaken up, man. What's going on in Palestine to wake us up, brother? Don't think that can't come this way. They're killing the men, women, and children. Don't think that can't come this way now. Okay? So that's why we need to be out inviting people to Islam. We need to show love for one another. This brotherhood, we need to get close. Yes, that's right. Exactly. That's a fact. Yeah. Yes. Exactly. That's what we trying to revive that spirit. And we got some old soldiers here. I ain't got to mention who they are. But they got the techniques, understand, they got the experience. All we got to do is tap them and let them teach the young people, because they know what to do. These brothers, they know what to do, brother. We got soldiers here. Yes, sir. We some. Right. Well, first of all, we don't respect people with knowledge from amongst ourselves. We don't respect them, okay? Because they go and study, and when they come back, they got to survive, and we rather be on our vacations and doing whatever we doing instead of supporting them brothers and letting them teach our children and our grandchildren. So that's the problem. We don't have priorities when it comes to this knowledge. And that's why we don't have the madrasas, the Quran madrasas, our priority is not there. Our priority is somewhere else. So we can't blame that on nobody but ourselves. We want to change that, change our attitude, change our spirit, and change our priority. Learning Quran in the masjid should be a priority. You got Sheikh Abdul Aziz here, man. How many is really benefiting from him in Arabic? He can teach you in Arabic all day and all night, brother. But are we really benefiting? Are we serious, really serious about establishing something? Or are we just talking? So them brothers who go overseas, when they come back, they got to support their families. They got to support their children. There's a brother that studied in Yemen for 17 years. He came back to Harlem, okay? Now he's in Hamtramck with the Yemenis. Why is he in Hamtramck with the Yemenis? Because we're not going to support him. That's the bottom line. We're not going to support them. And then we got this attitude, I don't know where we get it from, that whoever went over and studied is one of our enemies. Yeah, we done got to the point where we don't want to listen to nothing he got to say. He's only got the culture. You don't really have the religion, so don't listen to him. We crazy. We crazy. That's all that is, brother. We insane. And that's why we don't have what you asking about. Because we insane. Brother say, you know what? I got to divorce my wife. Brother said, why you got to divorce her? He said, she treat me too good. I got to divorce her. She treat me too good. Yeah, we crazy as hell, brother. And that's why we don't have what we supposed to have, because we crazy. Yeah, so we got a serious sickness. We got a serious sickness. Until we realize it, make effort to change it, it's going to be what it is, brother. Brother, 17 years studying in Yemen. And he's got to go to a community in Hamtramck for the Yemenis to support him. When they found out who we studied with, they said, bring him to us. We take care of him. So that's our plight, man. We talking Islam, but we living it is something totally different. Talking it and living it is something else, man. I've been in this community for 55 years, soldiering. People couldn't put a mustard seed together to bring me. 55 years. You know, my father said to me one day, he said, let me ask you a question. You know all them people that you were selling all them papers for and building a nation? I said, yes, sir. He said, when you studied in Mecca for 6 years, how much money did they send you? He said, I know them niggas ain't sent you a dime. And he wasn't Muslim. So that's our plight. That's our plight as a people. We want to change it, change it. Can't blame it on nobody else. Don't blame it on the Arabs. Don't blame it on the Bangladeshis. Don't blame it on nobody but ourselves. We're self-destructive. And anybody from amongst us that learns or comes up with something, we hate them to death. Our own children, we give birth to them. They become educated, and then what we do, we reject them. It's common with us, Aki. I came back from Mecca in 84. They told everybody, don't listen to nothing he's got to say. Don't listen to him. He only has the culture. He never learned the religion. Don't listen to nothing he has to say. This is my own people I grew up with. They raised me. They raised me. So that's the plight of our people, Aki. You want to know the truth? I mean, I could sugarcoat it for you, but that's the reality of our people. We crazy as hell. And that's why we in the condition we in. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we have like a brother, Abdul, he's talking about Abdul Basir. He's African American brother, has a school in Brooklyn. He's been there for a long time. He's produced a lot of children that graduated from that school. So I'm not saying we don't have pockets trying and making effort. I'm not saying that. There are some pockets trying to make an effort. But I'm saying in general, we crazy as hell.
I remember back in back in the 80s, brother communities had what they call the council.
Right.
And we were so close in our ignorance of Islam
Right.
that we would have Eids together at the parks.
Right.
We would have Juma a half hour behind the other. I remember going to 2 Juma in one day.
Right.
Because the compliance between the community.
Right.
As we progressed into the time, I recognized brothers going to eat to go over to study.
Right.
When they came back pointing fingers.
Right. Well, see that
teachers, they telling the brothers here, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong, and this is where.
Well, see, that's another problem. See, the brothers, many of them that went over and studied, didn't stay connected to their elders. You see what I mean? So they got information, but they lost their path because they wasn't connected with their elders. You see? So like a person like me who's older than them, has been there for since almost 50 years, they won't give me salams. You know what I mean? They say, well, give me salams. They say he's not on the minhaj. But you don't know me from a can of paint. You understand? And I was studying before you was born. But that's how we are. That's another problem that we have. I got brothers from Bangladesh, Arabs, Bosnia, all over. They come to my Dawah class in Medina, but most African Americans, they're not going to come. They won't hear nothing I got to say. So they come back here and they talk about how they respect their elders and all of that, but in reality, they don't respect their elders. And because they lose the connection, that's how they come back like what you're describing, because they don't have the connection and respect. So if they came back and had the connection and respect, they would be working with the local imams and helping develop them further, and developing the community instead of separating and causing problems. But they're not being trained right. That's the problem. They're not being trained and they're not connected to their elders. And some of them have extreme ideas. They're not balanced. And then later on, after they do so much damage, then they decide to say, well, we was wrong in this and that, but you already did the damage. So that's what's going on that side. So there's many different sides to what we're talking about. So this is another side, what the brother mentioned. It's not just one side. It's many different sides to this problem that we have. Many different sides to it. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and increase us and bless us. But we need some of the youth to study abroad. But I wouldn't advise you to send your children at a young age abroad unless you go with them. Let me say that again. I wouldn't advise you to send your children abroad to study young unless you go with them. Now, if they're 18, 19 years old like that, and you want to send them somewhere like to Medina, that's okay. But to send them to some of these countries where they have Quran schools and stuff, and the parent is not with them, you're asking for problems. Because there's a lot of things un-Islamic that go on in these places. So if you want to send your son or daughter, you need to be with them so you can watch them and take care of them. You got to be wise. Yes. Anyone else have any concerns or questions? إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون والسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Thank you, brothers, very much. May Allah continue to bless you, your families, and your offsprings. And we hope to see everybody in Mecca, Medina in the near future. I'm going back home in 2 days. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
We got a few more copies left, just a few of the Sheikh's book. They're available in front, inshallah. So the Sheikh could sign it for you too if you want. Barakallah.
Hello, my man. What's up? Man, long time, brother. Soldier.